Alright, here's a little help with the application of supply and demand shifters and equilibrium assignment. It should be, I think, assignment number 3 in your folder. Basically, with this assignment, what you're looking to do is illustrate which curve is going to shift, whether we're going to see a change in the demand, or a shift in the demand, or a shift in the supply curve. And when these, or either of these curves change or shift, what happens to both the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So one sheet that would be helpful, and it's located, I know Schoology has not been real cooperative, but in your green folder in your purple packet, there is this demand and supply shifters notes. That'll look like this, and this is going to give you all of the either demand shifters, so change in income, change in the number of buyers, change in taste and preferences, income, expectations of the future, and price of related goods. On the supply side, change in production costs, and this is always going to be a big one. If costs get more expensive, okay, increase in costs, that's going to always shift supply to the left. If we see a decrease in cost, meaning it gets cheaper, the resources to produce a good or a service get cheaper, then supply is going to shift to the right. Others are going to be expectations of the seller, technology, innovation, change in the price of related goods, number of sellers, government tools, right, tax, subsidy, or new laws passed, or some natural event similar to what we're kind of going through now globally. So with this assignment, kind of help you here. It says we're looking at the market for new Ford cars, and the change is going to be, suppose that workers at the automobile plant have successfully negotiated an increase in their wages, in their wage packages. So essentially the workers have said, hey, we need to get paid more. They've organized, maybe they went on a strike, but they have somehow negotiated an increase in their wages. It now costs Ford more to pay their workers. So how would the new wage contract be likely to affect the market of new cars? So in our first graph, right, we can label it as Ford new cars. And if we go back to the notes, right, we're dealing with a change in the cost of production. So we know this is going to be a supply shifter. It's now more expensive. Okay, inputs and wages are an input. It's going to be more expensive to produce these cars because they have to pay more for their workers. So we have an increase in cost. It's going to shift supply to the left. So here's our supply curve. We label it S2, meaning that our supply curve is shifted to the left, and we can see that our price of new cars is going to increase. It's going to go from this point on the number line, remember this is 0, and this is getting more expensive as we move up, right? So our prices are getting more expensive, and it makes sense. If things are more expensive, quantity demanded is going to be less. Consumers are going to buy fewer cars just because they're more expensive. So we talk about on a demand curve, a change in price. We are moving along this demand curve from point A to point B. Here's a new equilibrium. Let's do the second one real quick, and then I can let you kind of work through the others. Says for new cars here, due to the coronavirus pandemic and the government shutdown of many service job sectors, the economy is experiencing a record increase in unemployment. How will this recession be likely to affect the market for new cars? So a lot of people have been laid off and lost their jobs. This is the reality we're living in right now. How will this recession have an impact on the market for new cars. So we go to our market here and we put new cars. And again, looking at our demand and supply shifters, this one is going to be, right, what's changing? We got a change in consumers' income. They've lost their job. They don't have income coming in. So we have a fall in income. And this is going to cause demand for the normal goods to shift to the left. Right? Less income, less demand, makes sense. So this is going to be a demand shifter. So, and we see your demand curve shifting to the left. And now we can see the impact on price. Prices are falling. Quantity is decreasing. We're kind of moving along that supply curve. Suppliers are going to make fewer cars because they're not able to sell them for as much. Right? The equilibrium price is decreased, so that's going to decrease the supply, or the quantity supplied. We're just going to move from one point of the supply curve to another due to this demand shift or change in consumer income. So you'll likely, and you watch on the news or on TV for commercials, you're going to see a lot of new car dealerships are going to be offering 0% financing, possibly no payments for the first year or 6 months. You'll start to see these changes come out, and what that means when they say no payments for the first 6 months, or we're going to reduce your interest rate. They're essentially lowering the price for that car. So that's kind of a real world example of what that actual price decrease looks like. So hope that helps. If not, send me your questions, and I'll do my best to answer.